I'm going to tell a story about a board of directors where I was the CEO. Been brought into a company that was a massive turnaround. And when you're going through the interview process of CEO, you're both selling yourself, but you're also trying to assess the situation. And there are going to be things that you missed. And so I walk into a company that's got a 7-member board, and it's an early growth company. So we're at the B stage when I joined. And the board was too big, but the board was also all people who kind of had allegiances to the founder, who I'm replacing. The reality was that I got so focused on fixing the business, growing the business, organizing how the team was going to get work done, fixing the financing challenges, that I didn't look around the room and assess that these people have allegiances to someone else. And regardless of what I do, those individuals are not going to look at whatever I do as a positive. And I think there are a couple things. I was an outsider. I was from Silicon Valley, and I'm a woman and a Black woman. And I hate to say it, but as a woman, it takes a lot more for us to earn the trust of men. I'm just going to say it. It is what it is. It's too bad. But we are easy to criticize, and people love to humble women, which happens all the time. And if you're a woman, it's happening constantly where people are, trying to humble you. We had gone through a very rough fundraise. I went through it. And I remember I traveled that year 130,000 miles, just all over the country, going to see customers, hiring offices, fundraising, teams, putting out fires, blah, blah, blah. I was always on the road, almost 100% of the time. I brought back, a fundraising opportunity and a phenomenal term sheet. And because I didn't know the allegiances, everyone tried to shoot this opportunity down. And I was in the airport, Denver International Airport, at 7 o'clock. I had just gotten in at 1 o'clock, went home, showered, repacked my bags, and was leaving again on a red eye to go to New York to meet with some attorneys. And I'm in the airport. I've sacrificed my life to turn around this business. And people on the phone start screaming at me. And one thing you got to get used to as a woman and as an entrepreneur is people are going to yell at you. It's going to happen. They're going to undermine you. They're going to yell at you. They're going to be mad at you. Deal with it, right? And so I was shocked because I was excited. I thought, wow, manna from heaven. This is it, right? No, we're going to shoot it down. We're going to shoot you down. We're going to criticize this boon that you've worked super hard to manifest. I remember my heart sinking, and just in that moment, I broke. Like innocence left, like all these good things I kept trying to pull back in left. And people around me are just walking, and for a moment, I was in shock that this had happened and that we all weren't celebrating. There were 11 people on the phone. It was one woman. It was one person of color. It's me. I'm being yelled at by half the room, and I'm like, oh my God, So it was quiet. I get a text from my CFO going, what is happening? This is great. This is a great deal. Everyone, And I had this one investor. He kind of virtually stood up and said, guys, this is a great effing deal. If you're against it, you're against me. And in that moment, he deflated all of that. And I will never, ever forget that one guy who was like the smartest guy. He literally was. Wharton, all that. And he just in the moment said, we are not going to do this. And so in that moment, I realized a lot of things. There needs to be someone like that in every room. Because if there's not, the group just moves in a certain direction and it naturally progresses in this entropic malady of nonsense. And you need someone who is empowered and who also doesn't care what you think about them to just call it like it is and do so in the most honest language possible. I learned in that moment 10 years, like it was knowledge, but Tony Robbins always says, unless you can feel it in your body, it ain't wisdom. It became wisdom that it doesn't matter what you do. If the room of people are not for you, they will be naturally against. And so part of what you're doing as CEO is you're monitoring the energy of what's happening or with the people around you and what their interests are. And you're ensuring that you can steel man every argument and that at some point you have to move people on their way because it no longer serves the business. The deal I brought served the business. It was right for the business. It wasn't right for what was, but it was right for where we were going. And so it doesn't matter how good it is. If that guy didn't stand up and say, what is going on? It would have been the demise of that business in that moment, because the interest would have swelled in one direction that ultimately wasn't good for the business.